Hello. Welcome. Uh, my friend posted this thing. It's called IGN's Best Video Game of All Time. Apparently, it was voted on by IGN readers on, I believe it was on Twitter. I saw the polls on Twitter, so I think it's IGN readers that follow IGN on Twitter specifically. So this is their favorite games. And I thought it'd be fun to just react to it and just I don't know, talk about it and see if I agree with all of this. So I guess we'll just go bracket by bracket and just kind of go over this. Now our first two, we've got Red Dead Redemption versus Borderlands 2. This was a pretty overwhelming success for Red Dead Redemption. But okay, so 79% to 21%. I would agree with that. I mean, Borderlands 2, great game, really fun game. Especially to play with friends. But in my opinion, yeah, I would definitely lean more towards Red Dead Redemption there. Red Dead Redemption, in my opinion, I think it's one of my favorite Rockstar games, if not just my favorite. And when I played it for the first time, back in college, honestly, I thought it was a fairly perfect game. I think it was one of my favorite games that I'd ever played. So I definitely would have picked that. Borderlands 2 is a lot of fun. But yeah, if you're giving me the choice between these two, I would have picked the same thing. So now we move on to this one. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas versus Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Overwhelmingly, people thought San Andreas is better than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which, I mean, first of all, this is the weird thing with, determining if with comparing games is these two games should never be compared ever. Nobody should, who's looking at San Andreas and they're like, man, this game's so much better than Mario Kart. Nobody does that. That's why these things generally don't work super well. But honestly, I'm really shocked by this one, especially that people were so much more. Mario Kart 8 is, Mario Kart in general is such a, superfluous game. It's everybody loves, it's fucking Mario Kart, dude. Everybody loves Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, especially, the Deluxe version, which fixes, it fixes, battle mode, which everybody hated in the original Mario Kart 8. It fixes everything. It's pretty much, one of the greatest Mario Kart experiences that exists. I'm certain that there's more people playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe right now than are playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, a game that came out on the PS2. A game that's, pretty dated at this point. Although it is one of the most popular. I'm pretty sure it's got to be. No, Grand Theft Auto 5 is on here. I was going to say this is the only Grand Theft Auto game on here, but no, they have. I just thought of that. They have two fucking Grand Theft Auto games on here. And Red Dead Redemption. What the heck? Who decided what showed up on this list? That's kind of unfair. Somebody that really likes Grand Theft Auto, apparently. But Grand Theft Auto San Andreas wins that one. Baffling to me. I would not have selected that. I would have picked Mario Kart. Mario Kart's it's Mario Kart. All right, with the first two brackets done, we can move on to this bracket, which is Red Dead Redemption versus Grand Theft Auto. Two Rockstar games. And again, another kind of weird choice for me, because this is I definitely I would have selected Red Dead Redemption, although I tried to play Red Dead Redemption again after playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and it definitely felt a lot jankier than I remembered it, even though when I played it for the first time, I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a perfect game. I think I still think it's one of the more perfect games that's out there. San Andreas is great. I mean, sure, but especially with the crowd, I would assume they're kind of garnering here. I would have expected them to go towards the more recent game. I would have expected them to have less of a knowledge of San Andreas than Red Dead Redemption. I would have expected Red Dead Redemption to have a little bit more popularity in the modern age, but weirdly, this is pretty close. In comparison to this, which is just weird to me, just boggles the mind. This is This is pretty close, surprisingly. But more people went with San Andreas. The only thing I can think of is San Andreas has a lot of like memes associated with it, which might lend more to its modern popularity, I guess. Because if I were a person, I'm like, I played neither of those, but I've seen more San Andreas memes than Red Dead Redemption. Maybe you'd just click on that, if you're voting and you don't really know either way. So that's what you do. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas won that one. Don't ask me. I don't know. So next we have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic versus Tony Hawk's Pro. Oh, wow. Oh, God, that's unfair. That's that's a rough one. Oh, gosh, okay. I mean, and I think, like, isn't Knights of the Old Republic, isn't the second one more popular than the first one? I've only just recently finished Knights of the Old Republic, which you can actually, you can watch on my channel. You watched my entire playthrough of that game for the first time. And it's great, although I played it on Xbox, so it was a little janky and had a lot of bugs and glitches. I would recommend playing it on PC, probably. But, God, I mean, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 has much more, like, emotional value to me than Knights of the Old Republic at the moment. I'm like, ooh. But Knights of the Old Republic 1, which I guess it's a decent art. It's kind of like, it's like a precursor to, like, Mass Effect, but not as, I wouldn't say it's as complex, because I think there's only, like, minor differences in how things play out towards the end, depending on the decisions that you make. But it's pretty interesting. It's definitely a very accessible game as like a Western RPG. It's one of the easier ones to pick up, I would say. And it's good. Like I said, I from what I've heard, the second one is much better. So I'm surprised that's not the one that's on the list. And I'm wondering if people are voting more based on the second one or what. But voting over Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, like, I don't know, man. That's tough. That is such a tough decision. I don't know. I don't know what I would decide there. I think I would personally lean more towards Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 just in terms of, like, how much it means to me as as a video game that exists. But yeah, I gotta say they're both great, but hard to compare. But Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic came up on top there, but it was pretty close. Fallout New Vegas versus League of Legends. Okay, this is one I don't really get to have much of an opinion on because I haven't played either. I played Fallout 3, but I never played New Vegas. I played a little bit of Fallout 4. I never finished it. But New Vegas specifically, I've never played. I think I watched a friend play it. I've watched some YouTubers play it. And from what I've heard, it's a much more complex experience. It's a much more beloved. People actually... there's a lot of people out there that love New Vegas but hate Fallout 3 just because of the complexity of the what do you call it, like the clan system or something, where you can or join a group in the game. I don't know. As far as I know, it's very complex and one of the more popular Western RPGs, although it's decidedly more modern than a lot of a lot of the Baldur's Gates and stuff like that in terms of... I can definitely... Well, actually, I'm a little weirded out by this because League of Legends is on a whole other level of popularity. This seems more like the kind of what's the word, connoisseur's choice. I hate League of Legends, it's so popular, but League of Legends is insanely popular. So it's kind of weird that Fallout New Vegas would beat that out. But I suppose people that play League of Legends maybe aren't as interested in IGN. I guess, I don't know. That's a weird one, but League of Legends does have a lot of haters, especially when you have something so immensely popular. There's a lot of annoyances that can leak kind of into the community and kind of maybe ruin the game for a lot of people. But Fallout New Vegas, again, this is a weird thing to compare because they're very different things, but that's just going to be the entirety of the list. So that's how that went. So now we've got Fallout New Vegas versus Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This is a comparison that that's actually kind of a fair thing because they're both Western RPGs. And I think it's fair to give that to Fallout New Vegas. To be honest, because it's Star Wars and the Knights of the Old Republic feels like, you know, I feel like this is going to sound mean, but it's like baby's first Western RPG, you know? It's like, it's kind of dated a little bit in terms of how simplistic the RPG elements are. And, you know, this is definitely much more full-featured, much more like a better progression on the type of game that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is supposed to be. Fallout New Vegas is just a more complete version of that. Does that make sense? It's like a better realization of what can be done, and because it came out much later, they were able to do that better. So I would definitely go with Fallout New Vegas here. I think that's fair. We'll move on. World of Warcraft versus Fortnite. Wow. The real battle of the juggernauts, huh? This is the battle everyone's been waiting for. Which is better, World of Warcraft or Fortnite? I mean, this doesn't surprise me because World of Warcraft has been an icon of pop culture for years. I mean, since it came out, it's that big. It's beloved by many, far too many. Some people love it now. Some people hate it. Well, I don't know. How is it more fair to say most people hate it now? I don't actually know how people feel about it now, but I've heard a lot of people that don't like it and prefer its classic version. But I mean, it's World of Warcraft. I mean, it encompasses a whole lot of people's like childhoods and teenage years. A lot of people just did nothing but play World of Warcraft for days, you know. Fortnite, very popular, very modern, and I think, actually, I don't know, a lot of the stuff I've been seeing Fortnite doing, like the virtual concerts and stuff like that. I've never played Fortnite. I've played Battle Royale. I played like Apex for a bit, in terms of Battle Royale games, but I've seen some things online about Fortnite that I think are pretty cool. So I think it's kind of transcending its identity as just a lame kids game all the little kids are into. I think it's doing some cool things, and doing some weird things as well. I would say Fortnite is far more popular in the modern day than World of Warcraft is. But I don't know if I would say Fortnite is far more popular than World of Warcraft ever was. And I think that's the distinction there. Still interesting to see that's what people arrived on. Here we go. Another one that's just like completely stupid. We're going to compare Chrono Trigger to Burnout 3 Takedown. As you do. Okay, a natural comparison to make. They're both very similar, so it's kind of hard. I can see the jury was a bit out on that one. But you know, yeah, somehow Burnout 3 Takedown beat out Chrono Trigger, which this is just one of the biggest like examples of just raw stupidity that came out of this. This is just one of those you look at and you're like, what the hell? What are people thinking? How did this happen? I mean, if you actually think that Burnout 3 Takedown is a better game than Chrono Trigger, I feel like there's something wrong with you. Like that's just such a like either that or you don't know enough to probably be voting on this. Yeah, like first of all, I don't know, man. I see this and I'm like, I just want to insult the people that, that voted this because it makes no sense. I mean, Chrono Trigger is one of the most beloved JRPGs of all time. I mean, famously, the art was done by Dragon Ball Z creator Akira Toriyama. It's one of the most interesting, and I mean, the soundtrack is one of the most iconic in video game history. You watch any video game YouTubers and like I want to say like 90% of them have probably used a song from Chrono Trigger as like background music in one of their videos. I can almost guarantee you that because its soundtrack is legendary. And I mean, it's such a cool concept. It's almost action RPG-esque, but its story is its story and its characters are just the most iconic in video games. I mean, the whole point of the game, if you haven't played Chrono Trigger, it's basically a game. It's a Japanese RPG where that's all about time travel, and there's basically this big monster that's inevitably going to destroy everything, and so you've got this band of heroes from all across time that work together to travel from the future, distant past, to the present, and try to fix things to make it so that this world-ending event won't happen. Burnout 3 Takedown is a game where you try to crash a car is really cool. These games are not comparable. I don't want to shit talk Burnout 3. Like if Burnout 3 was up against anything else here, like I'd rave about Burnout. Burnout 3 is great. I've played Burnout 3. I played it. I played it at my friend's house a whole lot. It's a really fun game. You try to crash your car, and like try to get as many points as possible. So you just try to do these really elaborate crashes, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's arcadey. It's hard. It's hard to compare that to Chrono Trigger, but I definitely would have given that to Chrono Trigger over anything. This is bad. This is not good. What happened here? That's not good. So then we move on to the second level here of World of Warcraft versus Burnout 3 Takedown. And World of Warcraft seems to have won that one. Which I'm kind of okay with. Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's just when you go back and see that World of Warcraft beat out Chrono Trigger here, I don't know. Would I still disagree with that? I mean, in terms of, like, it's hard to judge something in terms of, like, I don't know. That's a difficult one. Because in terms of, like, impact, World of Warcraft is one of the biggest games of all time. But I don't know how much you should take that into account, when deciding if it's a better game. It's I don't know. We'll move on. It beats out Burnout 3, which I do kind of agree with. I'll agree with that. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare versus Goldeneye 007. This is one that might upset people, but I think just by modern standards, this is a very easy choice to make. I mean, Modern Warfare is definitely a better game than GoldenEye 007. GoldenEye 007, I feel like, is one of those games that everybody remembers fondly, but I think everybody that's tried to re-examine it in the modern context, it's really not as good a game as they remember it being. It was fun when you were a kid, but like it's janky, it's weird. It's not like you can still have fun with it as adults, I guess, going back and just kind of, but it's not as good as people remember it being, I'm sure. And Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is widely considered to be the best, if not one of the best, if not the best, modern FPS games of all time. I mean, I remember when that came out, and everybody was fucking playing that shit constantly. and people couldn't stop talking about it. It's just you go to people's houses, they were online shooting people in Call of Duty 4. It was everywhere. I mean, and as far as I know, I don't know if people consider that the best, because I think like the Black Ops games are a lot more popular. But Modern Warfare was definitely huge when it came out. Definitely far different from the previous 3 Call of Duty games. But actually, I think there were more than that. But, the numbered ones. Personally, as unfair as I think, GoldenEye 007 had a huge impact of being, like, a really fun, like, party game to play with friends on the N64. It kind of, you did this, it was kind of the same thing, where, like, everybody that had an N64 was playing GoldenEye when it came out, Obviously, it wasn't online, but, like, everybody was playing that game. It had the same effect, but in terms of, like, a modern update of FPS mechanics and just making a really solid game, control-wise, in terms of FPS, Modern Warfare is the better FPS. I mean, when it just comes down to it, it just is. So I think this is understandable. Next we're doing Journey versus Dishonored. This one's interesting to me. I always look back on Dishonored and I'm like, and I don't know if people, it almost feels like an obscure game at this point. Like I don't feel like people talk about Dishonored nearly as much as, like, when it came out, it was a really cool thing. Everybody was talking about it, but I feel like, I don't know, people just don't talk about Dishonored as much as they used to. But I suppose people don't really talk about Journey as much as they used to. I've seen some people playing Journey online or on, like, Twitch and stuff for the first time. And Journey is basically this very, like, it's kind of like a minimalist experience, where you basically, you're on this little adventure, and it connects you online, and you basically meet up with people and with one other person, and you just, like, are part of each other's, like, little experience for a little while, and it's very adorable, and you go through this harrowing journey, but you have minimal communication. It's a really cool thing. It's not very long, but it's kind of a very interesting experience. Dishonored is an amazing game, in my opinion. I actually spent a lot of time trying to complete Dishonored. I played it so much. I beat it. I beat it several times. I actually really liked Dishonored quite a lot. I think I would do the same thing here, honestly. I'm surprised it's so overwhelmingly in Dishonored's favor, but I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles, I suppose, sometimes. But I think that's fair. So now we move on to Call of Duty 4 versus Dishonored. Oh gosh. What do I think of this? This one's tough. I can kind of see why. I definitely think Modern Warfare definitely had the numbers over Dishonored. Like, everybody played Modern Warfare. Not everybody played Dishonored. It's a single-player experience, so it's a very different thing to judge. So I can kind of see the reasoning here and the logic. Personally, I don't know. I'd say I'm more of a single-player guy anyways. So, like, online games don't do as much for me. I rarely play online games kind of by myself. Which, I mean, Call of Duty is like that number one game that people love to just throw on when they're bored, I would say. Or at least it used to be. But Dishonored is more like my type of game than Call of Duty 4. But I can see the reasoning for this. I can see the logic. I couldn't really disagree with it, I suppose. Understandable. I'm fine with it. Whatever. Moving on. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare versus World of Warcraft. Now, this is an interesting one. So, World of Warcraft lost to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. There's a lot of people, I guess, that Modern Warfare is still a big part of their life that are on Twitter voting on IGN things. So I suppose this makes sense. I suppose this is what people want. Whatever. I don't care. I'm fine with this one. This one doesn't bother me that much. So now we go all the way up here to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare versus Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This is so weird to me. Where is all this popularity for San Andreas coming from? Why is this game beating out Modern Warfare, World of Warcraft, Chrono Trigger, Burnout 3? How did this happen? What the fuck? What is this? What's going on here? Did I miss the memo on something? Why is this game so phenomenally popular right now? This doesn't even make sense to me. I'm like, okay, I can see Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare like beating out World of Warcraft because probably more people have played. I don't know, World of Warcraft was like a little before, I think, the popularity of Modern Warfare. It was like a couple years, I think, prior. So I was like, maybe it's like an age thing. Maybe kids like remember playing Modern Warfare more so than they remember playing World of Warcraft. I mean, World of Warcraft was subscription based. You had to ask your parents to buy you to pay for just to play one game. Sorry, I just realized I had my thing at the wrong resolution. My bad. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing what I was zooming in on. But essentially, we're looking at, I don't know. This boggles my mind. Why is San Andreas like so popular now? That's so weird to me. I don't know how that beat out Modern Warfare. I can't make sense of that one. I don't know. Somebody explain that to me. I don't understand that. Let's move on. So next up, we got Portal 2 versus The Sims 3. I mean, this is an easy one. I feel like most people are gonna pick Portal 2. Is The Sims 3 even the most popular Sims game? I would have thought. I mean, isn't it the most it's the most recent one. So I guess it's okay. It's understandable. Portal 2 is better. This is true. They picked the right one here. I don't know. I don't play The Sims. Some people probably are like, no, what the heck? Sims is way better. But I don't know. Portal 2 is a fantastic game. I mean, it's Portal 2, man. Moving on. Let's just move on. God of War 2018. I have infamously, I'm well known for my thoughts of God of War 2018. I still haven't. Personally, I don't think it's a terrible game. I was pretty miffed about it when it came out. I don't care as much as I did anymore about it. I still haven't finished it. I still kind of want to finish it just to see if my thoughts like change about it, but I just haven't gotten around to actually doing that. But I didn't like it as much because of it just kind of changing. Like, instead of making a God of War game, they made something else, and I didn't like that. I was like, why not just if you're gonna make something that's not God of War game, why call it God of War? I don't know. Everything about it is just bothers me. So I have a hard time getting through it because I don't like the setup. I don't like what it is. I don't know why it needed to be a God of War game. It doesn't feel like that's, it feels weird to me. The way Kratos is in that, I don't know. I'm kind of shocked that it's so beloved, honestly, because the things I see about it, like, I can see that it's a very beautiful game. Like, it looks really nice, honestly, but that's like the best thing I could say about it. I wouldn't even say like like, maybe the story's good because I haven't played through it, but by itself, maybe the story's good. Maybe people connect a lot to the characters. I don't know. I get upset when I play it, so it's a tough one for me. But apparently, people really really love it. I mean, the thing about it is, like, the combat is so lame, and that's like, it's a God of War game. The combat should be the best part, and the combat is so disappointing and lame to me. Like, the best thing I could say about it is like the weightiness of the way you throw the axe and it comes back is like kind of cool, but Other than that, I kind of hate. I'm not a big fan of the combat. At least I played a decent way into that game. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not huge on it, but I'm also not huge on StarCraft. So I could kind of like be okay with this decision of making it beat StarCraft is very niche. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are really pissed off about that. But StarCraft is, I mean, strategy games have always been kind of a niche. So there's going to be more people that are into God of War than StarCraft. So this is an understandable decision. But it leads into God of War versus Portal 2. This is wild. This is wild. Overwhelmingly, people like God of War more than Portal 2. Overwhelmingly. I don't know, man. Portal 2 is again another one of those that's close to being like a perfect game to me. I think it's even my favorite of the like Valve games that exists. It's such a fun game, especially the co-op mode. Really fun to play with a friend. The game has a great sense of humor. And it's all about puzzles, and that's like my favorite thing. I love puzzles. So, personally, although I don't know, cuz I haven't finished God of War, so I don't anymore think it's like as fair to talk about it as much as I used to, cuz I didn't finish it, And I feel like I need to do that in order to like make a full discussion about whether or not it's a good game, whether or not it's a great game. But from what I played, I wasn't too thrilled about it. The world's pretty cool. It's got a cool world to explore, and partially the graphics kind of work into that to make it kind of fun to explore. I mean, it's just Norse mythology, but whatever. I don't know, man. Portal 2 versus God of War. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. If that's what people want, whatever. Do what you want. Sid Meier's Civilization 4 versus Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Again, weird comparisons, but Assassin's Creed 4 I think is the most popular Assassin's Creed game. Overwhelmingly beat out Sid Meier's Civilization 4. I believe Civilization 4 is one of the most popular It's isn't it the most? No, Civ 5 I think is the most recent. The Civ 4 was pretty popular. I was never big into Civilization or games like that. So I can kind of understand the more appreciation for Assassin's Creed 4. But again, I haven't played Assassin's Creed 4 either, so I can't really speak on this one too much. Now here's an upset. Ocarina of Time versus Skyrim right off the frickin' bat. Not only that, but they straight out picked Skyrim, and it wasn't even close. They flat out just picked Skyrim here. I mean, what can be said about this one? This is oh man, this is tough. I think people like this might have been more fair if this had happened like later down the line. I think I'd be maybe less upset about it, but to put these two up against each other right off the bat is a bit odd, and to have people select Skyrim. I know people love Skyrim and are willing to play it over and over again for the rest of their lives. But people play Ocarina of Time over and over again for the rest of their lives too, Skyrim's a bigger game. It's a more recent game. Ocarina of Time has a lot of issues, Not nobody can it's one of the trendsetter trailblazers of the 3D gaming genre. Came out around the same time as Super Mario 64, and this was Nintendo basically destroying everybody and creating 3D games that work, and there's so many games that are based around things that were established in Ocarina of Time, like Z-targeting was huge, and every other 3D game started to use this targeting system because it helps navigate in a three-dimensional environment to focus on certain things. Ocarina of Time invented that. and it's just such a fun game, such an interesting experience. Like, gosh, Ocarina of Time. I mean, it was one of the more important games in my childhood, and I played this game like a million times. It was just such an amazing experience that it's hard to. I don't know. I simply don't know in the modern day if Ocarina of Time is nearly as good for people that are playing it for the first time. If they will be like, this is a great game. I don't know, because I can't tell them that, Like, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I think so, but I think it's still a great game to play today. I still think it's a really fun game, but personally, I've shifted more towards liking Majora's Mask quite a lot better. I think Majora's Mask is more my favorite game, but just because I can't even really play Ocarina of Time anymore because I played it so much that it's just like it's going through the motions, It's just like, I go do this and then I go do that. I just know what to do, so it's like I can't really enjoy it anymore. But I love the world. I love the characters. I love how distinct every environment feels. I love how epic it feels. I love the time travel mechanic. I love that moment where you go into you get Epona for the first time, and then suddenly you can ride this horse around the whole world to navigate. I love the songs. It's just everything about that game is just so beautifully crafted, and to have it have come out at that time and be such a phenomenal experience was, that game was crazy when it came out. What was 98 when that came out? It's a mind-blowing game to exist at that time. Skyrim, I never really got why Skyrim was so hyped at the time, because I remember my college roommates literally went out to wait to buy Skyrim. Like, they waited for the release day, right? And we went to GameStop and basically waited in line for them to get Skyrim. I didn't get it. I didn't understand why they were so excited about this game. Like, I'd seen people play Elder Scrolls 4. I'd seen people play Oblivion. And a lot of people played Oblivion, but do people love Oblivion that much? I don't know. But there were tons of people that were hyped for Skyrim, and it was just weird to me. I never really understood where that came from. And now, even to this day, Skyrim just will not die. People consistently talk about how great Skyrim was, but I don't know. It's a lot simpler of a game than Oblivion. It's fine, it's good. Is it great? I don't know. You're comparing it to Ocarina of Time here, It's like it's Skyrim, I don't think I would vote for Skyrim over Ocarina of Time personally, but that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Ocarina of Time, I definitely get how it always makes its way to the top of every list, of best games of all time, and people are like, why do people always say this is the best game of all time? And I get that maybe it's annoying to people. And I don't even know if I would say it's the best game of all time anymore. I feel like it used to be. It definitely used to be at one point. But is it anymore? I don't know. I definitely wouldn't call it my favorite game of all time. Actually, my favorite game of all time is one that's older than this, which is probably on the list, so we'll get to that one. But anyways, I guess that's that. This is a big one. So I talked a lot about it. But Skyrim won that one, so the list is now null and void. It doesn't matter because Skyrim, Ocarina of Time has been knocked off the list, so now nobody's going to take this list seriously. That's just a joke, by the way. But I'm actually serious. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag versus Skyrim, that's obvious. Everybody's going to pick Skyrim here. Yeah, I totally understand that one. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim versus God of War 2018. This is interesting because I'm really shocked by how phenomenally popular God of War is. 2018. Like, I didn't expect this level of popularity for it to be more popular than Skyrim. That's an odd one. That's odd. Who are these people that love God of War this much? It wasn't that good. Surely, it definitely isn't that good. Like, what is so great about it? I wish somebody would tell me, because I have no idea. And yet it's like blowing the lids off of like all these lists. I was like, what are you guys seeing that I don't see here? I don't know. Just don't get it, man. Anyways, that's that. What are we doing here? Bioshock versus Overwatch. Okay, that's fair. Overwatch is far less popular than it was in like its heyday of 2016. When it came out, it was great. Everybody loved it. I loved it a lot. I played it for probably an entire year and then just stopped. And I think it's got a lot to do with it just them adding characters and changing it, and it was constantly changing, which is part of why I think it died. Was that, you know, they added some annoying characters, they changed the mechanics in such a way. You know, characters that I like to play got nerfed a whole... Like, my favorite character was Diva, and she got nerfed a whole heck of a lot, which I think was fair because, you know, she was a straight killer at times, but she's been nerfed so much that she's barely played. So, you know, I still get a little miffed when people talk about her as if she's, like, great. I think I should, personally, that I deserve some credit for just being good at this character that actually isn't a very good character anymore and actually kind of sucks. But, you know, that's just me. But it's part of why I don't really like Overwatch as much as I used to. It can be annoying now. And I don't know. You know, I just got burnt out on it as well, and it just stopped being as fun as it used to be. And I you know, it's still fun, I think, to play some of the characters I didn't play as much. But then I usually lose. So, and we're comparing this to Bioshock here, which definitely this was the right choice here. Definitely pick Bioshock over Overwatch any day. I mean, Bioshock, phenomenal game. Dude, I remember those commercials were just that like terrifying commercial of the dude, you know, and he's like following the little what are they called? The little sisters. He's following one of the little sisters, and he's like in this like underwater city, and he's like following her, and then suddenly he's like, oh, and then he looks down and there's a fucking drill like coming through his chest. That shit was so cool. You know, instantly sold me on the game. I'm like, I gotta play that game. And then it turned out to be a really phenomenal, interesting game. They say it's like a spiritual successor to System Shock, which, you know, System Shock is probably not on here, I bet. Yet it should be. At least System Shock 2 should be on here. And it probably isn't, which is kind of a tragedy. We'll see. We'll see if it's on here. I doubt it is, but it should be on here. But Bioshock is a really, really atmospheric game where you play in this like underwater city. I forget what it's called. You play in this underwater city, and you're basically going through this place, and it's very creepy and weird. But it's very atmospheric. It's got kind of a like 50s, 60s aesthetic. Or maybe even a 40s aesthetic. I don't know. It's got an old-timey aesthetic. But then you got these, like, weird, creepy dudes and ladies that are all, like, messed up. Almost like a Repo, the Genetic Opera kind of vibe from a lot of them. Kind of like that. It's a cool game. It's great. It definitely deserves to have won that, I would say. Minecraft versus Fable 2. I'm surprised that Fable 2 has even made the cut here. Fable 2 was phenomenally well received at the time. It was everybody's favorite game. If you go back, I tried to play Fable 2, and it's janky, it's weird. It doesn't play nearly as well as it used to. But it was kind of like, this is pre-Skyrim, this is pre-Fallout. It's like a big RPG where you can kind of you go around this nice world, you do quests, And the cool thing about it was that you can like there's like relationship aspects, and you can like get a wife and kids and all this stuff, and it was just a really cool idea at the time, and had a very British sense of humor, but definitely was more of a comedic. It didn't really take itself very seriously, but it's a very interesting game that only just recently. No, Fable 3 came out when I was in college, I think. Or maybe it was a little earlier. I remember my friends in college playing Fable 3. But I think they just recently announced a new Fable game, which everybody's pretty excited about. So it'll become relevant again eventually, when that comes out eventually. But, I mean, you put it up against Minecraft, which is just not fair. Just really not fair. You didn't even give it a chance here, you know? Didn't even really give it a chance, but I don't know. Maybe if you were going to put anything up against Minecraft, maybe Fable 2 was the choice there. Because it's like, people probably won't be that upset about it. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, Minecraft wins. Minecraft versus Bioshock. This might piss people off. This might be one of those that pisses people off. I have to say, I'm one of those people that, I don't know if there's many of us out here, but I have never played Minecraft. Not once have I touched Minecraft. And yeah, I can see the value of it, because the game literally never dies. It just keeps coming back, and there's like new iterations of like what people are doing with Minecraft. Like right now there's you've got a lot of people doing kind of like role-playing servers, or just doing servers with other streamers where they just pop in every once in a while. You've got like the Dream SMP, which is like a whole new thing that people are doing with Minecraft, where it's like a role-playing server, but kind of to a whole new level. And I gotta give them props for that, because it's a pretty interesting thing, regardless of how you feel about it. It's a pretty interesting thing. They're not the first ones to do an SMP. That has been done before by several different people, but literally this game never dies. It keeps coming back. I don't feel like it will ever die. And I definitely, every time it wins, like I'm not surprised if people put it as the top game of all time anymore, because it just makes sense to me. I'm like, yeah, if I were to pick one that's like all encompassing, everybody kind of loves it. There's so much you can do with it. It's just basically a big sandbox. Minecraft is almost like the perfect video game, So like I understand, but putting it up against Bioshock, it's kind of hurts a little bit. It's like, oh, Bioshock dies right here, huh? Wow. I don't know. Bioshock's amazing, and it deserves all of the love and support that it gets. And I wish they were still making Bioshock, and they haven't made any in a while. They could. I don't see why they couldn't make another Bioshock game, but they haven't. It's great though. It's a good game. But it's Minecraft. I can't be too upset. It was close. It was close. So moving on from that, we got The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt versus Diablo 2. Again, another interesting one. Diablo 2, actually, no, this was, wow. Witcher 3 just killed Diablo 2. Absolutely fucking destroyed Diablo 2. That's a little shocking, actually, honestly. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, I actually haven't gotten around to play. My sisters played it. My little sisters played it, and she said it was great, which probably means that it was really good if she liked it. My sister would know if it was bad. She would tell me. I trust her judgment. She's correct. But Diablo 2, man, maybe it's too old at this point, but like it's Diablo 2. Like that was one of the biggest games ever. That's one of the most beloved games ever. I mean, it inspired it almost inspired its own genre. The Diablo games. I don't know. It's kind of a fun. What's the new? Oh shit. There was like a new kind of. It was almost an MMO that me and my friends played or tried to play once, and it was like it was basically just Diablo 2. I also played the Divinity. If you played the Divinity series, especially like Original Sin and Original Sin 2, like those, the original Divinity games were Diablo clones. I find that an interesting fact to tell people, but I don't know if anyone cares. So, it's one of those fun gaming facts that I know, because I played Divine Divinity all the way through for no reason. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt 1, overwhelmingly, I can't really speak on this one because, from what I've heard, it's a phenomenally great game. Definitely, but I played The Witcher, which was a bit janky, I would say. And apparently this one's really good. So I'll let this one go. I'll let it go. Doom, I'm assuming. Now I don't know if people realize that they're not talking like this is just says Doom, which I would assume means Doom, the original 1993 Doom, and not like Doom 2016, right? And I wonder if people knew that when they voted this. Actually, no, because it went up against Inside. So I guess I can see that. Inside was great. I actually played it on the channel. It's a really fun game. It makes you think, but I don't think it really meant anything in the end. I think it's all just kind of nonsense. But it was a fun little artsy game made by the same people that did Limbo. Kind of just more of a full-fledged realization of what Limbo was doing. And it's great, but it hasn't been relevant in a little while. In fact, I'm kind of surprised it made it to this list. Top games of all time, I don't know if I would have put Inside on, even close to however many are on here. Like, I don't know, like 40, 50 games? I don't know. I don't think that Inside really belongs here, but, whatever. It's great, don't get me wrong, but putting it up against Doom, which from, like, the original Doom from 1993, I mean, it was cool at the time. It was basically like a shareware title that everybody got a copy of, and everybody was playing it on their school computers, just playing Doom. But I don't know. The Zoomers, I don't know if the Zoomers really understand the importance of Doom, what it did, But then they went ahead and voted Witcher 3 Wild Hunt greater than Doom, which whatever. You're putting a modern game up against the game from 93. I mean, it's this is the call that people are going to make. You got to understand. I mean, in terms of cultural impact, Doom is way bigger. Is it as fun? It's still a fun kind of game to play at times. It's a fun game to play, but there's more fun games to play. I think Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is more of a modern masterpiece, so I can understand why people would put it here. Now we're putting Witcher 3 up against Minecraft, which this one was close. Kind of weird to me that Witcher 3 beat out Minecraft, but that's what people decided. They liked The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt more than they liked Minecraft. I don't like Minecraft. I just want to hunt. I want to hunt. So that's what they did. And then Witcher 3 versus, let's go all the way back, God of War 2018. Right. People were like, God of War 2018 was better than The Witcher 3, honestly. Kind of weird. Kind of odd. The Witcher 3 is more supposed to be that type of game. Like, God of War was an action game that was turned into that type of game, and The Witcher 3 is like that type of game, meant to be that type of game, and doing it in such a way that people said it was better than Minecraft. And then they said that Minecraft and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt are worse than God of War 2018. God of War 2018. Who are these people? This is like people. This is just the group of people that like God of War 2018. These are the people that participated in this list. Only people that like God of War 2018 are allowed to vote in this list. And not only that, but you have to consider it your favorite game of all time. So I think about 39% of people Broke the rules. Anyways, let me see so it's 64%, 79%. It went from 90 to 79 to 64. People got a little bit more split on it as it went. A little bit more, not barely. It lost about 30% of its vote going forward, but that's so wild to me. I don't understand. Am I out of touch? I don't get this, guys.